For all you finely tuned athletes, and you're 5-6% body fat and six packs, if you're telling me that some of you aren't sore today, you're lying to me. And we have more blood on the floor of the ring than we did the last time. That's good. That's a good thing. There's more blood. I didn't have time to read my death threats because I've got other controversies. But guys, when you travel, if you're not bright enough to bring an adapter for your fucking computer, and if you don't bring toothpaste, toothbrushes, and fucking deodorant or that is a fact pattern. I judge people by fact patterns. Professionals, I mean, the Gates of this world judge you by fact patterns. I don't know if he still does it, but back in the day, when you had a meeting with Bill Gates, he had 6 minutes. Oh, just put it down, thank you. He had 6 minutes. His diary or his schedule was divided into 6-minute increments. Most of you guys can't say hello in 6 minutes. And again, when I say you've led a bubble-wrapped life and you still have your training wheels on your fucking bicycle, I'm serious. Now, there are little things that you wouldn't think about that people would, that they're indicators to somebody else. It's the same thing about being late for meetings. It's the same thing about not coming prepared for meetings. It's the you think you're prepared, and then something. I meant to bring that. But first of all, when we get more into role playing, you're going to learn not to say stuff. I meant to. I forgot. Those are words that are not in your vocabulary anymore. Even if you did forget, even if you did mean to, because words are important. And or I should have. Oh, and like you'll be in a conversation, somebody says, no, we're not doing that anymore. Because that's a fact pattern. That sends just the opposite signal that you want of being a powerful person with good to excellent leadership skills. Because people want to follow people that, have leadership skills. It's like during World War I, and I've been watching a lot of the documentaries about the Battle of the Somme, etc. Now, the little lieutenant or the little captain has got a whistle. They're in the trenches. The Germans are 50, 60, 80 meters away, and they're getting ready to charge over the top, and they've been there for 2 years, and they're only going back and forth 10 yards or something. And when the guy blows his fucking whistle, and he's got a little stick, very British, and he says, "Over the top, lads," but he's first over the top. Now, he can't even shoot anybody. Got a fucking stick, a swagger stick, not dissimilar to this, and he's got a fucking whistle. Now, and unless the kids, the lads, and that's what they call them, lads, have confidence in that guy, nobody's going to fucking follow him over the top when they know 50, 60, 70% of them are going to get at least wounded, if not killed. Most of the kids, YouTubers, and the kids that come here, in the beginning, not when you leave here, your leadership skills are slim to none. And for the guys that want to get their willy wet, I mean, it's leadership, it's strength, and it's the fact patterns, the little fact patterns that add up to who you are. And and as I've said many times for decades, I guess now, I have only terrific habits. I don't have any. My worst habit is better than most people's good habit. I don't even think about it. Literally, it's like brushing my teeth or wiping my ass. I just do it, and I've been doing it. And somebody asked me, I think one of the guys that I talked to on one-to-one time, I don't like going to the fucking gym every day. Even though it's only 40 feet from my office. Some days I hate it. Some days it makes me sick to my stomach to think I got to go to the gym. But I still go. And it's just a little more convenient because for 30 or some years I've had this down the hall. But I still don't like it. You know, you'd have to have fucking rocks in your head. Now, when you're young and you get endorphins off it, that's different. We'll see how many of you pretenders, six-packers, 5% body fat, look like me when you're fucking 73 years old. I already know. Maybe one, maybe two. Probably none. Because I just drive myself. And the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs, when he was alive, they just drive themselves. And these are the guys, when we talk about sleeping habits, which you guys are all excited about, and you find out that virtually all the big founders, from Amazon to Microsoft, slept in their office the first several years of their company's existence. Ted Turner's got a famous saying that you get so much more done in a 24-hour day, or something like that. Well, fuck it. You don't have to be Einstein to figure that out. And Elon Musk, even as recently as the last year or two, has said, give me a guy who works 80, 100 hours a week, an average guy, and he'll outdo a genius who works 40 hours a week. And that's contrary to all the bullshit about working smart, right? Working smart. How many times have you heard that? Well, working smart is this. That's the only thing you know how to do working smart. Is jerking off. I want maximum hours. And now, various parts of the world, they have 32-hour work weeks, 35-hour work weeks. One of you told me yesterday that they've learned that a 35-hour work week doesn't work. Well, I could have told them that 50 years ago. And the fact that a lot of kids put in, not a lot, in my time, kids put in unpaid overtime. Now you talk about unpaid overtime, it's like you're talking about there's no God and there's no Buddha. It's unbelievable. And my kids hate this story, but Bob Donato, who was one of my first bosses when a Wall Street firm, he told our kids, that we used to have to take the security guards to drag your father out of the building, put him in a cab to send him home after 4, 5, 6 days without leaving the office, sponge bathing in the toilets, in the men's room, 4, 5, 6 days without leaving the office. And I used to send my secretary to go buy me new shirts and new underwear. And when my kids don't want to hear that. But why was I like that? Because I saw my dad, who retired as a cop after 28 years, he had 700 hours of accumulated leave that he didn't take. 700 days, 700 days over 28 years. Well, if you figure that out, again, like I told you a couple of days ago, he didn't ever take a day off. And in those days, you used to be able to get a check. So that's what I saw. And again, you do what you see your parents do, or the lack thereof. It's not what they've told you to do. Last night you saw Steve. My old friend, I'm being sarcastic, my old friend Steve. I met him before, he wasn't my friend, but I did some work for Apple a long, long time ago while he was still alive. And he was a fucking psychopath. So what's the takeaway about the movie?
Extreme focus. Even if your whole world is crashing down.
Pardon?
Even if your whole world is crashing down.
Correct. Especially when your whole world's crashing down. And your little worlds are going to be crashing down. You're thinking. You get out there. You're going to think you're going over the line at the Battle of the Somme. And I'm sitting with my whistle telling you to go over. That's what you're going to think. It's not going to be true, but that's what you're going to think. What else about Steve?
Steve wore a suit when he introduced his first product.
And he wasn't a suit guy. He wasn't a suit guy. Because you only have one time to make a first impression. And what about him and his alleged daughter?
No free lunches.
Yeah, well, I mean, until he found out, or he surmised she was super smart, he didn't want to have anything to do with her. He said that, that 1/100th millionth or whatever of a possibility of a chance of her not being his flesh and blood, he was going to hang his hat on that so he didn't have to own up to being a father. And there's all kinds of speculation. He was adopted, this and that and the other thing. But and what about when he was going public and he walks by the table and they're figuring out the shares they're going to give out to all the team that should have got shares, and he says they're not getting any stock. So much for handshake deals. And that's consistent. You've seen it with Ray Kroc. You've seen it with Steve. You're going to see it with more people. Success leaves clues. So you should, that's a fact pattern of high performance people. When it comes to divvying up their net worth, they're cheap. They're mean, as they say in this country. What else about Steve? Yes, sir.
He was never wrong.
Correct. I may be, don't confuse me with the facts. I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt. They're all the same. They're just the opposite of you. You're always in fucking doubt. You're afraid to say what you think. You're afraid to tell your boss, even though you know he's full of shit, right? Why are you afraid? Because you're afraid you're going to get sacked, or it's going to put a black mark against your name for a future promotion, right? But that's not how you get to be CEO of British Telecom or Exxon. You can't probably be as outrageous as I was, but you can certainly be more outrageous than you are now. So the truth of the matter is, are you more interested in being all you can be or pleasing? So down deep inside, it's not just because you might not get promoted, not just because you might get fired, it's because you're pleasers. Some are bigger pleasers than others. And that normally stems back to either your mother was a pleaser to your dad, or your dad was a pleaser to your mom, or both parents were pleasers to their in-laws or their parents. So when you think about it, we had a kid a couple seminars ago said, when you think about it, we don't have a chance in life. That's absolutely motherfucking right. You have zero chance. Zero. Some of you have less than zero. So for people like myself, and I'm not blowing smoke at my own ass, I mean, to break out of what I broke out of is extraordinary. And I dodged a lot of bullets. I should have been dead 10, 20 times. And so for the religious people that have been through the seminar, and for my religious people that I support that are up here on the walls, the nuns, they think that there's a reason why I didn't go to Vietnam and get killed. There's all these reasons why the buffalo didn't kill me, because I'm destined. Now, this is a bit of a stretch for me. I'm destined, to do this shit. And whether I'm destined or not, I'm here. That's the main point. And even the mistakes I've made, somehow I worked out to be a benefit to me. To be a benefit to me. If I hadn't gotten thrown out by the shareholders in 1992, early 1992, I wouldn't be here. I would have never, because after I got thrown out, nobody wanted to hire me. It's successful. I had the most successful energy company on the planet, and arguably the most successful company on the planet in all sectors. Grew 55 million%, 67,000% a year. That was my return on investment. But nobody would touch me, as they would say here, with a barge pole. Fuck, you get Peña on the board, fuck, he'll take over the company, blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't get a job. I couldn't even get a directorship, like the non-executive directors you're looking for. So I sat around with my thumb up my ass for about a half a day. And one of my very good friends, retired Marine officer pilot, he said, well, you're a great speaker. Why don't you teach? And that morphed into coaching. So I took 3 days, and we reversed engineered how I took $800 and turned it into $500 million. And then all the things I did, we didn't call about the, make your personal foundation, and it wasn't called any of that. And then we thought about what we would have called it if we had thought about we were going to go on and coach. And that's how we got the 7 steps. And that's how we got the 5 credos. And when I would think about being rich when I wasn't, they called it daydreaming, that I was goofy. It wasn't called visualization. It was called daydreaming because he's punch drunk or something's wrong with him, And my OCD turned into me being laser beam focused. Once I found something to be obsessive about, and then I figured out that I had to not just be good at it, I had to like it. And like I tell you, when you're picking the industry you're going to go in, you better fucking love it. Now, some of you that have come through the seminar over the years are transaction junkies like I am. In other words, I like the deal. I love the one I'm with. Yeah, honey, I love you tonight. I love the one I'm with. And but I'm a transaction junkie, and that's why I can get involved in some of the minutia of your deals over the 25 years, because all deals have a few elements that are the same, whether you're in healthcare, telco, oil and gas. There's certain elements of the deal that are all the same. And all deals, once you get down near the red zone, like in American football, in the 20-yard line, punching it into the end zone or kicking it in the net, etc., all deals are the same, no matter what industry, A to Z. And so I can assure you, when you get down near the red zone, if nothing else, you'll fall dead into the end zone. But you'll be in the end zone. You might be dead, but you'll be in the end zone. What else about Steve? Yes, sir.
It was interesting to see that he could not lose. Even when he came out with the black cube, everyone, I think it was Scully, said, "This is going to fail." He said something to the effect of, "Tell me something I don't know." Yeah,
or he probably said "fuck off," but
he could take the hits.
Yeah, he could take the emotional hit, and we're going to see some eyewitness. One of my mentees is now the mentee of Wozniak, or mentor of Wozniak, and we've got some proprietary stuff that we got from Wozniak about Steve. But the bottom line is, he thought he was superhuman, an alien, when he didn't have a dime, and he looked down on the human race.
Sir, I found it interesting when he was removed from the board, and he knew when he came out with that black box, the software in it is what Apple needed. Mm-hmm. And so he knew the hardware would be a failure, like the operating system would be. So he had a plan after that experience.
Yeah.
So he wanted to adapt it. That's what I noticed. And having been removed unceremoniously from a board of a company that I founded myself, not once, but twice. The famous one is Great Western, but it happened to me once before that. For those of you that did your Google research, a company called JPK, which stood for Jensen, Peña, Kennedy, and I got tossed out on my ass 10 years to the day before that. 10 years to the day. And but their emotional bank accounts are strong, and even if they're, because he said he was hurt, but the recuperation, it's like in the Aliens, when the alien gets shot and then all of a sudden the bullet pops out, and we have the same for our emotional bank account. Okay, YouTube.